So the first one is about the politics and elections being at the national level. And sometimes it could feel a bit so far from my bed show, especially for those young people that are marginalized in society. And we want to hear a bit of your own experiences also in how we can effectively then include them, even if it's the national level. Youth involvement in elections, of course, is not about just getting them to vote, raising their awareness about who to vote to, but also how they can shape and influence policies and commitments. And looking at the Ghana case study also, it's interesting to reflect upon the explicit tools and methods and the variety, of course, that we used, and what is a nice combination, what appears to create most effect. And then the third point, which is also a difficult one, which can be a difficult one, is going beyond the elections. So now we've had the elections, we've had young people's involvement voting, pushing politicians to alter their policies, think about it from a youth perspective. But now then, how can we best hold power holders to account? How can we keep that momentum that we created during the election? How can you keep that momentum to really also then work together with young people to then hold those power holders to account to the promises they made during the election? Just to keep you back of your head, and at the very end of the session, we will come back to these points for a bit of an open reflection. Now let's dive, of course, into the main part, the best practice in Ghana on young people influencing the elections. We will start with, we will have 4 guest speakers, a very interesting lineup. We will start with Abdul Karim from Oxfam. And he will share a bit the broader view of how Oxfam in Ghana operated to influence the election in Ghana in 2016 through an activity called the Citizens Decide campaign. Then we will have Ruddy. He's the co-founder and CEO of Muse Africa. And that was the organization that led the component of the elections campaign called Participate. And Participate was all about making sure that young people are going to vote and are able to raise their voices to influence politicians. Then we'll have Elom. He is an award-winning Ghanaian Afrobeat musician, rapper, singer, and he was one of the champions that were included in the Participate campaign. And he is going to reflect from a more personal perspective what drove him, what motivated him to become part of this this effort, and what his experiences were. And we end with Benjamin, who is the executive director for the Mpuntusem Foundation, the organization that supported Oxfam with the documentation of the campaign process. So from that perspective, Benjamin will share a bit of the lessons learned.